What if the loudest voice in the room was silence? What if mindfulness isn't something you practice on a cushion, but something you live in the chaos of everyday life? And what if one man, in the middle of war and exile, showed us exactly how to do it? In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, one gentle soul reminded us that true power often lies in quiet presence. That soul was Thích Nhất Hạnh. He didn't need headlines or megaphones. Through calm breath, mindful steps, and compassionate words, he showed us something revolutionary. Mindfulness isn't just sitting still, it's the way we listen, the way we forgive, the way we respond with love instead of fear. And this video isn't just about honoring his legacy, it's about inviting you into a way of life that could change everything. Let's begin with one quote. Just one. But it's enough to shift your perspective completely. When another person makes you suffer, it is because he suffers deeply within himself, and his suffering is spilling over. Thích Nhất Hạnh? It sounds simple, but it's radical. What if, instead of reacting with anger, we responded with understanding? What if, in the heat of the moment, we paused, breathed, and saw the suffering behind the sharp words or harsh actions? This quote isn't just a piece of wisdom. It's a mirror and an invitation. In the next few minutes, we'll explore 3 powerful, true stories that show what this quote looks like in real life and how you can live it even when life feels overwhelming. Let's step into the first story. Part 1. Deep listening brings deep healing. True mindfulness doesn't begin with silence. It begins with how we listen. Thích Nhất Hạnh once shared that listening with compassion is the very root of peace. Not the absence of noise, not the ending of arguments, but the presence of true understanding. In 1966, they met Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during one of the most turbulent times in history. The Vietnam War was raging. The civil rights movement in America under fire. Tension hung in the air like smoke. But when these two men sat together, something different happened. Thích Nhất Hạnh didn't come to convince King. He didn't come to debate. He came to tell stories of his people, of villages bombed, of children crying, of the deep, silent suffering of an entire country. He didn't raise his voice. He raised awareness. King, a man known for his powerful speeches, sat in stillness listening. And when they finished, Dr. King looked at him and said, "You truly are a saint." This meeting wasn't a press event. It wasn't political strategy. It was pure, mindful presence in action. That one moment of listening rippled into history. Just weeks later, Dr. King publicly opposed the Vietnam War-nominated Thích Nhất Hạnh for the Nobel Peace Prize. Ask yourself, when was the last time you listened, not to reply, not to defend, but just to hear someone's truth? Try this. The next time you're in a disagreement, pause, breathe. Instead of reacting, simply say, "I want to understand you." It might feel strange at first, but something profound happens when we open that space. Because when we truly listen, healing begins not just in them, but in us. And now let's journey deeper into a story where mindfulness wasn't just quiet. It was bold, risky, dangerous. After exploring the power of deep listening, we now arrive at another essential truth of Mindfulness Zone that challenges a common misconception, that mindfulness means being passive. Part 2. Compassion is not passive. Mindfulness isn't about withdrawing from the world. It's not about closing your eyes and sitting still while the world burns. In fact, real mindfulness often means stepping forward, especially when it's uncomfortable or even dangerous. Thích Nhất Hạnh showed us that to be mindful is to be awake to suffering and to respond with action. After being exiled from Vietnam, he could have lived a quiet, safe life in France. But when he learned that thousands of Vietnamese refugees, often called boat people, were drifting in the ocean, starving, dying, and being turned away by countries across the world, he didn't wait. He didn't hold meetings. He didn't seek permission. He acted. Using the resources of his small community, he quietly organized rescue missions. He arranged for boats to search the open sea, to bring food, medicine, and safety to people the world had forgotten. On one mission alone, his team saved over 500 people, including children, the elderly, and even a baby born at sea. No spotlight, no applause, just mindful, courageous compassion. And when someone asked him if this broke international law, he simply replied, "When compassion becomes illegal, we must question the law." That's not just bravery. That's mindfulness in motion. Compassion is a verb, he taught. Because to be mindful is not just to see, suffer injured is to step into it with open eyes and an open heart. Ask yourself, are you waiting for the perfect time to help someone? Waiting to be ready? To have more money? More knowledge? More confidence? Or are you willing to show up now imperfect, but present? Because sometimes showing up fully, honestly, and with love is the most radical act of mindfulness there is. Next, we'll witness how a single flower, held in silence, transformed lives and brought generations back together. After seeing how compassion demands courageous action, we now turn to another dimension of mindfulness sits, power to reconnect us to what truly matters, our loved ones. Part 3. Healing begins with a flower. Mindfulness isn't just about being calm. It's about remembering who we are, who we love, and how fragile every relationship truly is. Thích Nhất Hạnh created a powerful tradition known as the rose ceremony. At first glance, it seems so simple. Just a rose, handed out at a retreat. But what followed touched hearts in a way that words could never do. He asked everyone in the audience to pin a red rose to their shirt if their mother was still alive. If she had passed away, they were given a white rose. That was all. No music, no speech, just that one small act. But in that silence, people began to weep. Some cried for mothers they missed, others for mothers they never got to know, and some for mothers still alive but with whom they had never healed. One man stood in the back, frozen. He hadn't spoken to his mother in 30 years. She was still alive, still reachable, and yet they were strangers. When Thay approached him and gently handed him a red rose, the man whispered, "But I haven't earned it." Thay smiled and said softly, "Today, you have." That man made a call that night. He didn't know what to say, but he said something, and that changed everything. That's not magic. That's mindfulness. The present moment is filled with joy and peace. If you are attentive, you will see it. Thich Nhat Hanh. We spend so much of our lives waiting for the right time, the perfect words, the ideal situation. But mindfulness reminds us, the only moment we truly have is now. Try this. Before the day ends, tell one person that you appreciate them, out loud, with presence, not in a message, not in a rush, just there and now. And finally, let's return to where we began. With the quiet strength of Thích Nhất Hạnh, explore how his legacy lives on through you. Thích Nhất Hạnh often said, "Peace is every step." And for him, walking was never just about going somewhere. It was about arriving fully in the here and now. He would lead walking meditations through forests, down quiet paths, or even across busy city streets. Each step was taken slowly, mindfully. No destination, just presence. One day, while walking with a group of students, he paused and said, "Each step you take should be like kissing the earth with your feet." That moment shifted everything for the people there. The world didn't feel rushed anymore. It felt sacred. This wasn't about movement. It was about arrival. Try this. Take a 5-minute walk today. No phone, no destination. Just feel your feet touch the earth. Let each step bring you back to yourself. They didn't just speak to monks or world leaders. He loved teaching children. At Plum Village, you could often find him sitting in the grass, surrounded by little ones, teaching them how to follow their breath like a game. He would say, "Breathing in, I feel calm. Breathing out, I smile," and then giggle with them. In one retreat, a little girl asked, "What if I forget to breathe mindfully?" They smiled and said, "Then your next breath is your new beginning." Even the youngest heart could understand that. Mindfulness, he showed us, is not something we grow into. It's something we come back to, again and again. Try this. Share one mindful breath with someone younger than you, a child, a niece, a student. Teach them gently. It may stay with them for life. We've journeyed through silence, through suffering, through action, and through love. And now, as we come to the end of this video, we arrive at the heart of it all presence. Mindfulness isn't a technique you master. It's not a trend you follow. It's a lens through which you begin to see the world differently, more gently, more openly, more fully. Thích Nhất Hạnh never gave us shortcuts. He didn't promise instant peace. What he gave was far more powerful. The courage to slow down, to look within, and to walk through life with open eyes and an open heart. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what the world needs right now. When you breathe, you don't just calm your own racing mind. You create space for others to breathe too. When you speak with compassion, you soften walls. When you listen with presence, you heal wounds you cannot see. So let this be your invitation, to live each day as if peace is not something you're chasing, but something you're creating. Because you are. In every pause, in every step, in every breath, you are the mindful way. If this message touched you, even just a little help, it reached someone else. Like this video, share it, and subscribe to Mindful Way Television. This isn't the end, it's the beginning. Stay present stay kind, and we'll see you in the next video.